between the two of them, I think that they spent about 3 hours with me.
Hello and welcome to On the Subject of Cancer, a podcast brought to you by New England Cancer Specialists. I'm your host, Jessica Fidalgo. While the subject is cancer, this really is a podcast about people. Every episode, we sit down with someone who has lived through or is a specialist in the treatment of cancer, and we ask them about their experiences, their knowledge, and anything they're willing to share. The ground we cover can range from the funny to the painful, the scientific, and anything and everything in between. If you're listening as someone touched by cancer, whether that's personally or through someone you love, you're not alone, and we're glad you're here. Let's get into today's conversation with Kate DiConzo. Welcome, Kate.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Oh, thank you so much for being here. I know a little bit about you through some events that we were both part of last summer, but you'll be new to the audience. Your patient story will be brand new information to anyone listening who doesn't already know you. So I would love to hear a little bit about you, what you do, when you were diagnosed with cancer, and kind of how things have been going.
Sure. So I am a nurse practitioner. I have been in that field, the medical field, really kind of my whole career. Started as a CNA and became a nurse, then a nurse practitioner. I work in the post-acute field, and absolutely love it. It's definitely like where I'm meant to be. And I was 33 years old when I got diagnosed with breast cancer. And as someone who's worked in healthcare and always been the provider, it was very eye-opening to kind of switch roles and all of a sudden become a patient. I think it's a blessing and a curse a little bit. You almost know too much, but oncology is a field that in my professional world, I didn't know anything about. So I tried to just kind of take a step back and just, act as a normal person who didn't have any medical background and just kind of take it all as it comes. So that was, trying to think, only a little over a year ago that I was diagnosed and went through 5 months of chemotherapy. I went, had a bilateral mastectomy with lymph node removal.
Wow.
I elected to have reconstruction at the time of my mastectomy. Initially had tissue expanders put in, and right off the bat, radiation was supposed to be a part of my treatment plan. So they put the expanders in, and that's what our plan was. And I actually went and met with the radiation oncologist here at New England Cancer Specialists. And the physician came in and handed me this research study that had just been published 3 weeks ago. It was like hot off the press.
Wow.
And kind of we sat down and we talked about it. And she said, I don't think you need radiation based on this new study that was just published. And it was like, oh my gosh, this is incredible.
Yeah.
And so I'm extremely passionate about research and just kind of giving back to this community, because if it wasn't for all of those brave women who participated in the research studies that came before me, I wouldn't be where I am today. I would have gotten radiation and, and had this whole other layer to my journey that I didn't have to. So pretty incredible.
That is. It feels impressive to me, as a layperson here working in cancer field, but not a clinician. The idea that, decisions are being made and treatment options are sort of being revised based on like the newest science and the best information, I think that's fantastic. That feels fantastic to me. I also remember you saying that as a healthcare worker, you sort of felt like you wanted to do your research on your end before you decided on a provider to be able to make sure you got the best of the best, the Cadillac of cancer treatment. So can you tell me a little bit about how that went? How did you kind of dive in?
Yeah, I would say the majority was talking to other professionals that I know. You kind of like cast that wide net and just kind of ask around, whether it's based on experience or people they've worked with or so. And just kind of, I asked everyone that I kind of came into contact with and had trust with. And overwhelmingly, everyone said, you have to go to Dr. Patelli and Dr. Teller. They are the best of the best. And so I remember I went in, and my very first appointment here at New England Cancer Specialist, it was one appointment where I got to see both Dr. Teller and Dr. Batelli. And between the two of them, I remember I think that they spent about 3 hours with me, and I was blown away by just how calm and approachable they were during that appointment. You have so many questions. My life got turned completely upside down, and we're sitting in this appointment like, okay, what do we do? I'm very much an action person. So as soon as I got my diagnosis, I don't think I like cried immediately. I just immediately went into like, okay, when is my appointment? What's the treatment plan going to look like? How do we fight this? Like, let's go.
Yeah. What's the punch list?
Yep.
Yeah.
And so to have these two incredibly compassionate, caring physicians sit with me and my loved ones in that appointment, it didn't feel rushed.
Yeah.
They truly cared. They laid out every single option for me and really kind of like made me feel that even in a situation where I know nothing about this, like, you're in the driver's seat, your decisions, and you have the choice, but we're just going to give you all of the information, all of the research in order to make the best informed decision, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, that does feel really empowering, I'm
Yeah.
sure. What's the most absurd thing or the funniest thing that has happened to you as a result of your cancer journey? Can you think of anything that, just in hindsight makes you laugh or became an anecdote or something like that?
There isn't really anything funny about it, right? Like, but I think my sense of humor just kind of changed. Like I cope with humor. And I think some of my friends are like, "Why are you joking about cancer?" I'm like, "Because you have to. Otherwise you're going to cry about it, you know?" Like the reality is that I do have breast cancer and I have to go through chemo and surgery if I want to live. And so rather than kind of sitting there and being like, "This is unfair," I just was like, "Okay, we just have to deal with it." And so some of that just comes with some dark humor, and that also might just be the medical professional in me.
I'm the same. I
Yeah.
think the challenges that I need in my own life have to be faced with as much humor as I can muster because otherwise, yeah, I'm just gonna never get out of the bed.
Yep.
Um,
Exactly.
I get that for completely. So one of the things I'm always curious about when I talk to patients is, about how their friends and family members reacted to their diagnosis. And I think I'm definitely under the impression, as someone who's never had cancer, that people can say things that they mean to be helpful or useful or nice, and they are not helpful or useful or nice. They're not what you want to hear. How did that go? Was there something that kept being repeated to you, or some kind of little aphorism or something like that that you just were like, if I hear that again, I'm just gonna rip my shoe off and beat the person with it. Or do you feel like people in your circle kind of understood more or less how to meet you where you are?
I got a lot of blankets
Okay, that's
to
so
the
fun.
point that it was like kind of a joke, you know? I I mean, that's so appreciative, right? Everyone's like, you just want to be comfy and you're cold during chemo. And so it was just kind of funny. I got a lot of blankets. One thing that I learned through all of that is cancer makes people uncomfortable, and that's okay. Some people don't know how to show up for you. I just finished my treatments a month ago.
Yeah.
So I'm just kind of transitioning into this new world of like I don't come here every week for labs, and I'm just kind of like on my own. And so now I'm doing a lot of reflecting back, and it's now making me realize like how much it affected my people around me and like how scared they were, but they didn't want to show me that they were scared because, they knew I had to fight, and you just don't, so I was I'm very fortunate, like, my friends and family were incredibly supportive, and everyone just, like, really showed up for me, but I think that looking back, like, I would just kind of say to anyone who's in my position, like, everyone is, like, having their own feelings, and no one knows how to it's uncomfortable, and that's okay, and yeah,
It is.
it's hard.
It's a group project in a lot of ways. Unfortunately, you're the one who has to turn in all the work
Yeah, right, yeah, exactly.
and get the grade.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, I've heard that kind of thing before for
Yeah.
sure.
I'm striving for that A plus.
Yes, yes, which it sounds like you knocked out of the park. Was your cancer detected through routine mammogram, or what was the thing that sort of ultimately led to the diagnosis?
Yeah, great question, because I think that my case was like a little abnormal. I had gotten out of the shower and noticed that I was bleeding out of my right nipple.
Uh-huh.
And I will just share with you, I don't have kids. I've never breastfed. So I was just kind of like, that felt strange to me because it looked like it was like kind of bleeding coming from like milk
Uh-huh.
ducts. And I was like, oh, that's strange. And so I called my PCP. She saw me a couple days later. I did a breast exam. She did a breast exam. We couldn't feel any mass or anything. But we just kind of sat down. She was like, I would do a mammogram and an ultrasound because I don't know what this
Mhm.
is. And I'm so glad that we did.
Yeah. And that was it, that one mammogram that detected what you had
Yeah.
going on. You were stage 2B at that point, is that
Correct.
right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. They found it and it had spread to one lymph node
Oh, wow.
at that point. Yeah.
And did you have any sort of history in your family
No
that you knew?
history.
Nothing.
No
Yeah.
history. And had the genetic testing here through New England Cancer and everything came back negative.
Interesting. Yeah.
So
That is often the case,
Mhm.
these genes and the chromosomes are very mysterious. It feels like you very much kind of knew your own mind going into this journey. And, you mentioned being very can do, take charge type of person. Was there anything that surprised you that you discovered about yourself as you went through this that you thought, oh, I've never seen that side of myself before, or I didn't expect to react this way to that?
actually the quote on the wall here at New England Cancer Specialist where it says, "You don't know how strong you are until being strong is the only choice." And that just resonated with me so much because I was fortunate that I really haven't faced a lot of adversity in my life. This was really the first big challenge, and I I think I was surprised at how, like, take charge and strong I was.
It's great when you can impress yourself, right? It's
Yeah.
great when you can surprise yourself
Yep.
with something that you didn't know that you had. I like that quote a lot too. When you think of being strong, or the sort of idea of being strong, what does that mean to you? I think for some people they might say crying means that you're not strong, or feeling sorry for yourself means that you're not strong, which I would strongly disagree. But do you have like kind of your own personal definition of strength, or the way that you see it?
That's a that's a great question. I think that it's really important to feel all of those feelings, and that's, like, part of being strong. I don't think that I would have been able to get through all my treatments and done as well as I did if I didn't have the right mindset. And I had a friend who told me while I was going through this journey, who is also a fellow cancer survivor, who said, "Feel all of the feelings. If you're mad, be mad. If you're sad, be sad. It's okay to spend time in the 'this isn't fair, this sucks, I can't believe this is happening,' but you can't let yourself stay there.
Mhm.
It's important to feel those feelings when they come, but don't just let that snowball." And that really resonated with me, and I was like, "You're right. It's okay to cry. It's okay to scream and be mad about this because it's awful and it sucks and I hate that I had to go through this." But I really changed my mindset and just kind of said, as cliche as it is, one day at a time. And I just continued to do what made my body feel good, moving, exercising. And I think that mindset made a big difference in my recovery.
Yeah, I can imagine that's true. Well, I'm very, very, very glad for your recovery. And I'm very glad that you've had such an amazing experience here at New England Cancer. I know I'm biased. I think our oncologists and surgeons are really the creme de la creme. But we're just glad you're still with us. I'm really super excited that you could participate today. I hope we can have you back on the podcast, maybe with another guest to mix it up. It has been amazing having you on and getting to know you a little bit better. And congratulations again on your recovery. And I hope you have the most amazing 2026.
Thank you so
You're
much. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Thank you for listening to this episode of On the Subject of Cancer. If you heard a piece of yourself in this conversation, whether you're a survivor, a caregiver, or someone still finding their footing, we're glad you're here. Cancer can be isolating. Conversations like this one remind us that even when the experiences are different, the feelings often aren't. If you have a topic you'd like us to cover, please send us a note by going to our website at newenglandcancerspecialist.com and clicking on Contact.